Hello everybody, Lurcher for Life here, bringing you guys a brand new video. So, I have been seeing on like the Yu-Gi-Oh Reddit and just on Yu-Gi-Oh places where people talk anyways, that a lot of people really don't like extra links. And, you know, I understand, I hate it too. So, I thought it'd be cool to make a video kind of talking about some options that you can use to get rid of extra links and to counter them, because let's be honest, this is not cool. I don't know what Konami was thinking doing this, locking out of an opponent's entire extra deck as a game mechanic. It's so stupid. I hate it. Everybody hates it. I don't think Konami's gonna get rid of it because there's cards referencing extra links, so we gotta just kind of deal with it and think of ways to counter it. So while this may not be every option to be able to get rid of extra links, these are the options that I've noticed that have some pretty decent viability for them. Except for maybe the last two options, but we'll get to that shortly. So, I also want to preface, I have tried to keep this to non-targeting, non-destruction options because of these three cards right here being common parts of the extra link. Nightmare Cyberse, Nightmare Goblin, and Nightmare Phoenix all basically make it to where whenever your opponent has the extra link going, you can't target or destroy the monsters by any means whatsoever. And it sucks. So let's get on with this. First and foremost, come on, PowerPoint, why are you being stupid? Why are you being stupid? You're... Okay, there we go. Kaijus. Okay, so kaijus are a big one that everybody's been trying to like tinker around with and everything. They're definitely a viable option, but however, what really sucks is that they only really work for getting rid of one of the monsters in the extra monster zones, because if you get rid of the ones down here, then, well, you you basically didn't do anything, because your opponent still has the extra monster zones taken up, and they still have, you know, oodles upon oodles of monsters. The thing, though, is that getting rid of one of the monsters down here can break the extra link. So typically, with the kaiju, you either want to go for the ones actually in the extra monster zones or the ones in the corners. Now, the reason why this is also especially necessary is that commonly your opponent will have a Trigate Magician in the extra on the zone over here, with 2 to 3 monsters being, well, co-linked to. So therefore, they can negate your spells and traps and stuff. So you don't want that. So you're going to want to tribute over to good old Trigate Magician or Sorcerer, whatever he's called, in order to just be able to, you know, actually be able to do stuff. That still leaves the issue of getting rid of the monsters in the extra monster zone. But now that you've broken the co-link, especially since Trigate is usually in the left or right corner, now you can, you know, get rid of one of the monsters up here because they're no longer co-linked. So then there you go. You don't have to worry about that. So that's the really nice thing about kaijus. You can just get rid of one monster. Yeah, sure, they get a 22 to 3k beater, but hey, you got one less monster you got to worry about that has an actually scary effect. Next up is Raw Sphere Mode. Raw Sphere Mode works a lot like kaijus in that you tribute 3 monsters your opponent controls to summon it to your opponent's side of the field. The thing, though, is that this is a normal summon, and that you eat up your normal summon. Also, you gave them a monster that you can't attack, and then whenever it spins back to you, they can't attack it, but they can just, you know, link it off or stuff. So that is a bit annoying, but however, you still got rid of 3 of their monsters. And this is really effective in being able to just absolutely destroy an extra link. So you can get rid of a monster that they have up in the extra monster zone and then 2 of them down below. So you can just absolutely wreck their extra link, get rid of their firewall, get rid of their nightmares, get rid of their Trigate, then just be able to go off from there. The, again, big issue is that it does eat up your normal summon. So therefore, if you're playing a normal summon reliant deck like Dragoonity or something, you're not going to be in a good position if you have to summon out of Raw Sphere Mode to be able to get rid of that. But however, it's still a really good option, I feel, for certain other decks that don't rely too heavily on a normal summon and instead can special summon out the wazoo. Something like Zodiac, well, Zodiac variants, Spirals, such and such, you know, just stuff like that that can be able to get out spam going without having to rely on a normal summon. Next up, there's the Timelords, specifically these two, Gabrion and Metaion. So, Gabrion, whenever he attacks at the end of the battle phase, This is so stupid. He shuffles all cards your opponent controls back into the deck, and then your opponent draws cards equal to the number of cards that you just shuffled back. Now you might be thinking, okay, then they just drew 5 cards, or maybe even more, depending on what their back row was, or if they have any other monsters out. Well, here's the thing. It's only they draw equal to the number of cards that were shuffled back to the main deck. So if you YgoAmino a full extra link board, and they don't have anything else, which they probably won't, unless like they are playing back row, but let's be honest, back row sucks these days. Then you just got rid of 5 cards, and they aren't able to draw anything off of it. Now, this does obviously have the drawback that you gotta attack. If they have something that can stop the attack, or you know, just negate it, like with Trigate, then yeah, you're kind of screwed. But however, it's still an option as well. As is Metaion. Metaion does a similar thing. Whenever at the end of the battle phase, after he attacks, he returns all other monsters on the field back into the hand, and then your opponent takes 300 damage for each. That's really, really good as well. It really comes down to which ones you prefer, YgoAmino or Metaion. Metaion only gets rid of all of their monsters. YgoAmino gets rid of literally everything on your opponent's field, but gives them cards if they, well, had anything that went back into the main deck. So these two are great options as well. Now, the only downside is they do also eat up your normal summon, but you still have a monster, and since they can't be destroyed by battle, and you take no battle damage from battles involving them, you got a decent wall there, unless they just, and heck, they can't pop it with Cyberse, so they have to make a unicorn to spin it back. So it's not like the worst thing ever for normal summoning out one of these guys. Then we got the Cyber Dragon engine, as I like to call it. Now, the two main pieces are Cyber Dragon himself and Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon. Mega Fleet Dragon is a contact fusion that requires Cyber Dragon, well, any Cyber Dragon monster. Cyber Dragon being obviously one of the best targets. So you can just spell summon Cyber Dragon, your opponent will have a field full of monsters, and then you just contact for Mega Fleet. And a Mega Fleet can use one or more monsters in the extra monster zone for the fusion summon, and he gains 1200 attack for every monster used. So if you use your opponent's 2 monsters in the extra monster zone, you got a 3600 beater. That is really freaking good. But however, now you also have a crappy fusion that has no effect other than just, you know, getting rid of stuff in the extra monster zone. But this is still nice. And you can also throw in some other cards for the engine as well, like Cyber Dragon Core, Cyber Repair Plant, so on and so forth, to be able to get to your Cyber Dragon a bit faster, so you can hopefully get rid of their, well, extra link. Then we got CYNET UNIVERSE. Now this is where we start getting into the kind of off-the-wall options, but however they still work quite well. It's just a matter of doing some certain things. So CYNET UNIVERSE is a field spell that came back all the way out in the Link Strike structure deck. It was the first, I think that's what it was called. It was the first starter deck for Links. It's the one that had Deco Talker, Honeybot, and Link Spider in it. So CYNET UNIVERSE. All Link monsters you control gain 300 attack. Cool. Once per turn, you can target a monster in the graveyard. It does not have to be yours. You can target a monster in your opponent's graveyard, so you can screw over their setup, which is pretty cool. And you shuffle it back in the deck. But however, the big thing that we are focusing on here is that if this card on the field is destroyed by a card effect, send all monsters in the extra monster zone to the graveyard. So this card has to be destroyed by a card effect, and you just send all monsters in the extra monster zone to the grave. This is really, really good, especially if you use it in tandem with other cards out there that, well, require you to destroy stuff. Stuff like Zodiac, what's-my-who's-its, Barrage, stuff like the various Fire King stuff. You know, you can Twin Twister your CYNET UNIVERSE, Twin Twister your opponent, one of your opponent's cards, stuff like that. Really good card effect, and it doesn't have to be face up, so if you set it so your opponent can't just negate it with a Trigate, which I don't think destroys, it just banishes, you can then chain Twin Twister to, well, you know, pop them both. And heck, that's also what you could do if you just activate CYNET UNIVERSE, and you can chain something to it. Alternatively, there's a bunch of other ways to destroy it. Decks just have so many ways of destroying their own stuff nowadays. I feel like CYNET UNIVERSE isn't a bad tech option, but it's definitely not the most optimal. Now, this is a really, still, I feel like has more bonuses than downsides, because it's a field spell. You can use terraforming to search it. Almost every deck nowadays has a field spell. Anyways, so you're playing that field spell and you're playing the terraforming. But, well, if you already have the field spell or if your opponent extra links you, you don't need your field spell too much unless you're playing ABC. I mean, really kind of obvious. But, however, CYNET Universe, you search it off your terraforming, you activate it, you destroy it through some way or whatever, and then, well, you just, just screw over your opponent. Now, it does, unfortunately, have to be destroyed by card effects, so it's not like you can just plop another field spell on top of it. But, however, I still feel like this is it's the best, least optimal card. Like, if you can't, for some reason, afford the Cyber Dragon Engine, Timelords, the Rod, the Kaijus, this is a good replacement option. Now, for one not too good option, I'm still debating on if I like this option entirely or not. So, Backlinker, he's a level 3 Dark Cyberse effect monster of 1600 attack, 0 defense. He is searchable thanks to the various search options that good old Cyberse have, including the one that's coming out today with the Lady Debugger or whatever she's called. So, Backlinker has some pretty cool effects. If your opponent controls a monster in the extra monster zone, you can spell summon this card from your hand. You can tribute this card, shuffle all monsters from the extra monster zones into the deck. Also, you cannot spell some monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn. So, you plop him on the field, tribute him, and then you spin back your opponent's cards in the extra monster zone back into the deck. Now, the obvious issue with this card, other than his summoning thing where your opponent has to be the only one who has monsters in the extra monster zone, but that doesn't matter too much, is the fact that you can't summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn. Now, it doesn't limit you from doing anything else. You can still just start your normal summon, go off from there. The thing, though, is that special summon restriction from the extra deck. You can't even cheese out stuff with, like, Starlight Road or something in order to get the special summon. You can't summon, period, from the extra deck. And that's my biggest issue with Backlinker. If it wasn't for that last line of text, Backlinker would be the best option for outing a extra link, almost, like, period. I mean, like, if it wasn't for the fact that Trigate would just negate it anyways, he would be, I feel like. But, however, that freaking last line of text, that really does kind of screw over Backlinker. But if you can kind of just give up your special summon from the extra link, from the extra deck for a little bit to be able to screw over your opponent, what they're doing, and then actually be able to play the game, it's not a terrible option. That's what I feel like, at least. I mean, I'm sure somebody's going to be like, it's bad anyways, but I digress. So, these are the various tech options that I've thought of while just trying to think of ways to out extra links. But, however, obviously they're probably not all of them, and I would love to hear what you guys have devised to get rid of extra links yourself. Personally, I really wish the card 0 extra link was actually able to get rid of extra links, but no, it does some stupid attack buff. God dang it, Konami. So, hopefully we don't have to wait too long before we get, like, an official card that says, destroy all cards, like, if your opponent has an extra link, go and destroy all cards your opponent has that's extra linked or something. I don't know, that'd be cool. Although, the freaking Nightmare Cyberse would just stop that. But I digress. So, what do you guys think? Which options are your favorites? What have you been doing to out extra links? What have you found that works? Because this is something that we as a community are going to have to deal with until Konami either makes a ruling about it or gives us a specific card that really does put a stop to it. You know, like maybe a trap hole that stops an extra link. Something like that. But I digress. What do you guys think? Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a great day. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. See you all later. Peace out and goodbye.